tell who's real and who's fake, the seats begin to get hot. So let's talk about some of the coaches who are really sitting on some toasted buns right now. I mean, I can start off with one particular coach who I don't think he has a shot to coach in the NFL next year. Now, there's a lot of new faces and new places right now. So regardless of how some teams are playing, I don't think there's a lot of hot seats out there for coaches. But two names come to mind, and I'll just talk about one, and then we'll see what you say, Woody. But Mr. Nagy from the Chicago Bears, I don't think he has a chance no matter what happens. Unless the Bears have some miracle turnaround. Hey, I said it. Justin Fields is not ready to play. I said they should sit him all year. I said he's not ready to read a defense, and he should take his time, figure it out from the sideline because he is talented. But what happens now when you put him out there and he has bad game after bad game? He starts to get rattled, and sometimes some players don't come back from that. Now, I'm not doubting Justin Fields, but the way Nagy is handling this situation is absolutely horrible. So you have a quarterback out there who isn't really able, right? He's not going to make all the reads, but you don't give him any easy reads. Now, I want to bring to the forefront, let's talk about Sean McVay. Yes, this is a completely different team, but Sean McVay is a good coach because he made Jared Goff was in the MVP conversation 1 year with him because he tailored the offense around what Jared Goff is able to do well. And he continued to mix things up. He never went outside of that. He wanted to go deep more. So eventually when the time came, he's like, you know what? Got to get rid of Jared Goff and get somebody in who can actually go deep more. But you would have never known what Jared Goff wasn't good at because McVay made a game plan that his quarterback can execute. And you do not get that from Bill Nagy with the Chicago Bears. So if there's anybody whose seat is hot and, like I said, the buns are toasty, it is Mr. Nagy in the Chicago, in the Windy City.
I don't want to show you my notes here, but literally the first line on my page, my first line is Matt Nagy, number one by far.
I don't know why I said Bill Nagy twice.
Oh, you said Bill?
I said Bill Nagy. Bill Nagy, I used to work with you, and I'm sitting here talking about you, right? Instead of Matt Nagy. So Bill Nagy, if you are watching the Side to Side Sportscast, my bad. Matt Nagy, if you're watching the Side to Side Sportscast, which you probably will be next year because you ain't gonna have nothing to do on Sunday next year. But Matt Nagy, my bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't even catch that. So who knows if our viewers did, but I think he's number one by far. Of all the teams that you could, or all the coaches you could mention, I feel like there are deficiencies, like in their roster. And I'm not saying that the Bears have the best roster in the NFL, but this is a playoff team. This was a team that last year people were saying underperformed. And Matt Nagy was saying that they underperformed. They were in the playoffs, and they're saying, no, you know what? We can do better. Let's get rid of Trubisky, and I'll show you better. And this was Nagy's chance, right? He got rid of Trubisky, and he got not one, but two quarterbacks of his choosing to run that offense, and both of them failed miserably. And failed miserably doesn't even begin to describe what's going on with Justin Fields. I will say, I always give credit where credit is due. This man, Will Gaddy Jr., he said it. He said it from day one. He said it on day 36. He's saying it right now on day 249. Justin Fields was not ready, and he's still not ready. He won't be ready this year. He was kind of bullied into starting him, and now it's just like I said, he got two quarterbacks of his choosing, couldn't do it. Matt Nagy's number one by far. Urban Meyer, Will was saying, right? Maybe he won't be here, through the full season. Right? Like his seat was that hot for a little bit. I think it's cooled down. A miracle win in London, tends to, ending a 20-game losing streak, right? Tends to kind of get the heat off you. Then John Gruden gets the heat on him. So, Urban's kind of been able to go back into the shadows, but his team is still really bad. They definitely have a bad roster, but I don't think it's that bad. And he has definitely not done Trevor Lawrence any favors down in Jacksonville. So I would have to separate those two from the bunch, but definitely Matt Nagy. He has a talent on his roster, and he's
yeah.
he's
Listen, they got a nice find with Khalil Herbert, man. Khalil Herbert can actually run the football. Pretty much one of the only running backs to top 80 yards against the Bucks in multiple weeks. So all they got to do is get the ball in the air and down the field, and you're not giving Justin Fields the type of reads, that you're not running him on bootlegs. Like, you're not giving him easy stuff that coaches do for rookie quarterbacks. Nagy is not doing, right? And Justin's holding the ball. He's getting sacked. He's just not ready, right? But Matt Nagy's not ready either. I should just keep calling him Bill, because maybe I should just do that. But what you said about Urban Meyer is exactly my point. They're the only two coaches who I think are on the toasted buns list right now, because Urban Meyer, his seat was hot. Isn't it funny how you get one win, right? Literally, we haven't heard Urban Meyer's name in almost 2 weeks, right? Ever since he, was seen with the girl, and then his team, he flew home separately, okay? After they got destroyed by the Titans, he took a separate flight home from the team. I'm sorry. When they lost to Cincy, he took a separate flight home from the team, right? And then that's when everything started, and it filtered into that loss against the Titans. His whole locker room gave up on him. They're like, wow, coach, we lose and you can't even fly home with us? This ain't college, man. And it didn't look like you were going to make it through the bye week, but you got that win. And when they say winning cures everything in the NFL, it is so true. You got that win to go into the bye week, right? Now you're going to come out this week and probably going to start a brand new losing streak. Let's just call it what it is, right? Because the play design and everything we're doing in Jacksonville, and when I say we're, I don't mean as in me affiliated with Jacksonville. Everything you're doing, right, in Jacksonville, Coach Meyer, it's not looking good at all. Now, when we talk about players, there's some players who are in a hot situation as well. And when we talk about head coaches and then you talk about players who are on a hot seat, it has to be quarterbacks. Quarterbacks get the blame just as much as coaches. In my opinion, it is not fair always, but sometimes good coaches don't have good quarterbacks, and sometimes good quarterbacks don't have good coaches. But what I can say right now is there is one player that really comes to mind. I want to talk about a few of them. But when we talk about players who are on a hot seat right now, I am sorry, Woody. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Yeah, man. I will pat you on the back if I was.
Wait.
I'm sorry, man.
All right. You know what? There'll never be a good time to say it. So just go.
Hey, look, you know what? There's a cartoon character, right, whose head is shaped like a football. And there's an NFL player who hasn't been throwing the football well right now. We're talking about, hey, Darnold, where did you go? What happened? Is it really just Christian McCaffrey? I get Christian's a beast. You can put him in the backfield. Defense doesn't know if he's going to run a route from the backfield, right? He's almost impossible to guard, but we can't use that as an excuse because Matt Rule and Joe Brady instantly put DJ Moore in the backfield, right? But maybe that tips off the defense because if he runs routes from the backfield, you haven't ever handed him the ball. Maybe they should have done that, right? But the thing is, Darnold has been holding the ball. He hasn't been accurate. Yes, I know the Vikings game, there was a lot of drops, right? But he made a lot of mistakes too. And he didn't come back the next week on fire. I mean, the Carolina Panthers have lost 4 straight, and maybe Darnold's not their guy. That's what's proving right now. They benched Darnold for PJ Walker, who went 3 for 14. Like he was Russell Westbrook out there, right? He went 3 for 14. Only for the coaches to say, well, Darnold's still our starting quarterback for this season, right? Look, it's looking really bad. Maybe Matt Rule should have been on our list of last week, but I don't think they're going to give up on him that fast. It's only his second season. But one of the players who are on the hot seat on the toasted buns list is definitely your man's Sam. Hey, Darnold, where'd you go?
Fun fact: the Carolina Panthers receivers lead the NFL in drop passes, but no, I'm not. I'm not going
to change the narrative.
I'm not saying that Sam has been incredible or that he's been great. Unfortunately, he's been dealt a bad hand. And what you actually said before about Justin Fields, about how your confidence can get shaken early due to bad coaching and horrible game planning, and how some players can never get out of it. It is apparent that may be where Sam Darnold is at, because he was a talented kid, and the Sam Darnold that we saw his rookie year disappeared after he got mono. I don't know, maybe the mono actually killed him, and now this is a replacement Sam Darnold. This is a robot that's just not good enough. His batteries start messing up. He looked good, but what happened? What was the change? The easy answer is McCaffrey, but protection wasn't as good. He got a couple bad drops, and now his confidence is off. He doesn't have that unshakable confidence. He's actually very easily shaken. And I think that's the thing there. But no excuses though. There is no doubt. I say Matt Nagy, number 1 coach by far. I don't think there's another QB, near Sam in the stratosphere. I also don't think there's another QB who kind of had the host, right? Because we could say he was traded for Teddy, right? So Teddy is kind of in a similar scenario, but I don't think anyone saw Teddy in Denver and said, "Oh, okay, now Denver might actually be set, at QB." But people were saying that about Sam. Sam he's still 23. He will always be younger than Joe Burrow, who is he's a sophomore, right? So it's a crazy situation. They picked up his 5th-year option. It was an investment for the future. They thought they were they had their guy, so that's why the disappointment is there, and it's much larger than a Teddy. His seat is hot, but let me bring it to someone else. All right, I can't. It's hurting me to even bring this up. The pain has been unbearable. But let me tell you something. All right, because Franklin Delano Roosevelt, right? He is famous, right, for being one of the greatest presidents, right? He created so many new jobs, right? He brought us out of the Great Depression by creating so many new jobs for Americans. But let me tell you something right here. Bill Belichick has gotten more people jobs than FDR. This man, his coaching tree, people who just I don't even know have been seen in a picture with Bill Belichick get jobs. I don't get it. Jimmy G, just for being drafted by Belichick and apparently being the heir apparent to Tom Brady. People actually believed that. They believed that. And San Francisco believed it so much that they gave him, an unproven quarterback that had started 7 games, a max deal in the NFL and said, "This is our guy."
Well,
And I'm telling you, I was pulling out my hair, these long strands, pulling them all out. I was like, "What are you guys doing?" Then I realized, I got my own problems, right? I was a Jets fan, still am. I got my own problems, but here they are. And don't tell me, do not look at me and say, "Well, Mr. Booty, they made it to the Super Bowl. Jimmy G has to be." The man was attempting 12 throws a game. The dude, he was getting carried by Raheem Mostert, by Tevin Coleman. They had Matt Breida, the 3-headed running back. The man, he was not doing anything. Kittle, you throw 5 yards to George Kittle. Kittle does the rest, getting 200 yards a game. The man is not good. He's never been good. And right now, right here, they're seeing it. And Kyle Shanahan, it's funny. We talked about Sean McVay and Jared Goff and how Sean McVay did as much as he possibly could to hide Jared Goff's inefficiencies, right? But eventually, push comes to shove. And where's Jared now? He's in Detroit. Jimmy, your time is up. You were a very similar situation. Overpaid just like Jared Goff. I actually think he is less talented than Jared Goff. And here we are. Here we are. Now, Trae Young, we don't know if he's ready, but ready or not, here he's about to come through, because Jimmy G is not that guy. And I think Kyle Shanahan, who is a great coach, inarguable, he's a great coach, he's had enough. Jimmy G has the second hottest seat of all QBs in the NFL.
that is a very good pick. And I'm out here calling Matt Nagy, Bill Nagy, and you out here calling Trey Lance, Trey Young. We side to side with the fumbles right now, for sure. And let's talk about Jimmy G, because you nailed it. The reason why Raheem Mostert cannot stay healthy and them knees keep crashing down is because he did do the most amazing carry job. He had to carry Jimmy G and that contract, right, in the Super Bowl. And I don't think Raheem Mostert is going to come back from it right now. Jimmy G is definitely probably an upper echelon backup quarterback. He's pretty good. And yes, you were in a system with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, and you looked like you could take over for Tom Brady. They couldn't keep you forever because they wanted to keep Tom. They made the decision to keep Tom and let you go, and then Tom left, and now they're in a better situation because they got Mac Jones. And the 49ers probably would be in a better situation if they had taken Mac Jones, because I'll tell you what, I like Trey Lance, and it's a shame that he got injured, but when he also is not ready, you don't just go from playing not even one full year at North Dakota State to the NFL and just kill it. You do have an elite arm and you're a good runner, but there's a reason why they made you run the ball 16 times in your first start, because you are not ready to read the defense, right? And Jimmy G is literally just there for you to learn what you got to learn so you can get going next year. So they're doing the right thing that the Bears weren't doing or aren't doing. And I do think that there's zero chance Jimmy G starts next year. It's going to be the Trey Lance show in 2022, and they're going to be ready to go. So that is definitely a hot seat for a player. And you know what? That seat may be the hottest seat. Is really debatable, right? I mean, it's really debatable. which seed is hotter. But you did also mention Teddy Bridgewater. Of course, this is a stopgap move. I still think that Aaron Rodgers' ultimate destination next year is going to be in Denver. That's why I think that he's talking trash to the Chicago Bears, saying, I've always owned you, because I think he's going to be in the AFC next year, and that is going to literally be the wild, wild west when you have Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes in the same division with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is more like David Carr compared to those names. Like, so they're gonna have to do something else. But yeah, so I think Teddy Bridgewater, you had a chance last week to, hey, you guys lost 3 straight. Let's get a win against the wounded Browns. But all you did was dink and dunk all over the field. I mean, that was the most dinking and dunking I've seen in a lot. That was Chad Pennington-esque, That was just that was not a great game for your boys. But the last person.
Oh yeah, okay. You were about to, because I have one other person.
I got one more person too, right?
All right. You go, or should I go? You should go.
No, you go. Because you know what? This is pretty much my person may take us into the next topic.
Okay. My person definitely. Well, actually, he might, but I don't think so. My person,
the same person.
No, it's not. It's not, because this person, his seat is actually not hot. It's so weird. Like, I feel like he literally might be the most almost like confusing / polarizing person in the entire NFL. But like, I feel like we came into the season being like, oh, his seat's hot, and then every once in a while, like, I don't know, like, so let's just talk about him. His debut, he was on fire. Team was, we had a legendary quarterback who was struggling. They put him in. He comes in, kills it, has a pretty decent, year, decent stats. But oh my God, the fumbles. It's just unbelievable. Sophomore year, he has some flashes, but the fumbles, the turnovers, unbelievable. Now, I don't, who is giving him these nicknames? I don't understand. But right now, the most current one is Daniel Beckham Jr. This man, Daniel Jones.
Oh my God!
Like, is he good? Like, I feel like he's not. I feel like he's really not. But like, he's a decent athlete. Like, he does have burners sometimes. And he, like, that was a good catch. Like, you can't, like, it was a good catch. He took the hit. He has burners, but then he like stumbles upon himself. Like, when he's making that big run against the Eagles, like, I feel like he is such a walking highlight and low light. I've never seen something like that where just simultaneously can be such a highlight and such a low light all at the same time. There was one time he out here drop back looking, scanning the field, and Jamal Adams literally just takes the ball out of his hands for a touchdown. Like that, like, doesn't even just says, "Let me take this." And just highlight and low light. I don't.
Do you realize this is definitely a player that I wanted to talk about? I'm so glad you brought him up. This wasn't the same player that I was going to mention, but this is a better player right here. Danny Dimes, right? Daniel Beckham Jr. Why are all of your highlights of things that don't involve playing quarterback? Like, like, yeah, you run for a 76-yard touchdown. You're not a running back. I mean, that's good if Lamar Jackson does it, because Lamar Jackson is actually pretty good at playing quarterback too, right? Now you got this one-handed catch, and then you fall down, and it's so overrated because it's not like you caught it, came down, and made a play. Like, it was a good catch for a quarterback. I'm not sure how many quarterbacks can do that, right? But now you're getting nicknames as New York. Your stock is rising. Look at Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham made the catch with 2 fingers. That's like the last highlight of his career. Like, it doesn't even look like he's a decent receiver anymore. It's just New York is going to blow you up when you do something good. And Danny Dimes, man. Woody, you literally just said he dropped back, scanned the field, And Jamal Adams was just like, oh, give me this. I'll take this football. I'm out. Like, when he has to play quarterback, it's not a good situation. And I do think that after this season, granted, they're coming off of a big win, right? A 25-3 win over the Panthers. Whew. I really thought that game was going to end 5-3, and that would have been one of the first things I wanted to talk about on today's sportscast because that would have been like a baseball score. Don't know if I ever seen a game 5-3 that long into it, right? And it was pathetic, but I don't know how the New York Giants can like roll with you as their guy. Gettleman said when he saw you, he was in love. He called it full blown love, right? Somebody need to get Gettleman, right? Gettleman need to get got because if you still loving this man at this point, man, something wrong with you, Mr. Gettleman. Gettleman, you gotta go, and you can take your lovely quarterback with you too, man. Because Daniel Jones ain't it, man. You know what? I think he's actually talented, but it's something about him. He is truly like he's got the whole Eli persona where Eli look like you don't know what's happening, but Eli will like throw 5 touchdowns on you, right? He may throw 5 interceptions the next week, but Eli go from this to turning it on, right? He turned it on. He got the turn on in him, right? I'm a Cowboys fan. Eli had all his bad games outside of playing the Cowboys. Against us, dominated, right? Daniel Jones doesn't have that. He threw for 400 yards, and then he went back to being Daniel Jones, right? Like, he had his 400-yard game. It's like, okay, Danny Dimes. People picked him up off the waiver wire. They dropped him that fast now. Now he's back. He's back. So let's